Alright guys, it's Chatterbox Reviews, coming at you guys with my review for Better Call Saul, Season 4, Episode 9. Alright, so I really did enjoy this episode. I thought, again, probably one of the best ones of the season so far. It was really great. And what I thought it did really well was set up for the finale next week, right? So I think that's the biggest, objective of it as well, right? The second last episode of the season, right? Build up some stuff for that finale episode, and I think it's gonna be one hell of a finale. I don't exactly know, what to expect. We know that maybe Jimmy and Kim are gonna be up to something in this finale. Obviously, Mike is going to be on the lookout, but I think it's going to be crazy. I think something big is going to happen. Whether we see a death, like a significant death or not, definitely a question, to be asked, but definitely something big is going to happen, whether it's a death or, a big plot point, right? Or something happens with Jimmy and being a lawyer, right? So anyways, I think it's going to be a big finale. Let's go over a recap for this episode here, and then I'll get to my rating, favorite character, and then some more overall thoughts of the episode. But like I said, I thought it was one of the best episodes of the season so far, and I really did enjoy it. So anyways, so we get into this one. We get Jimmy and Kim, right? And so this was a great start to the episode here, where we see Kim walking in with crutches. And it was just, a perfect little scene, because right away, or at least I interpreted it right away with her being in the crutches. I was like, okay, so this is one of their plans, right? This is one of their kind of, secret, operations that are, schemes that they're playing right now. So anyways, so they're already pulling another one of their schemes on this zoning agency, or this building agency, it looks like, so that they can have an expansion to the Mesa Verde building plans of their new expansion location. So yeah, pretty, relatively a small thing, but they go through a lot of effort to actually get it done, right? And so anyway, so Kim is with the crutches, and Jimmy's acting as her brother, who's looking after her baby and leaves the baby in the truck, and then she has to go out, and then Jimmy leaves the milk, so it, ruins the old plan, so that she puts the new ones in and switches them. Just a really kind of great little thing there. And that's kind of stuff that we recognize from Breaking Bad with Saul Goodman, right? I mean, this is really getting into the Saul Goodman territory, because he did a lot of that stuff, right? Maybe not him directly, but maybe Huel, for example, right? Or he got, the guy that goes to the car wash to get Bogdan out, right? And, lies and says there's chemicals, in the area and stuff like that. So just, really reminiscent to what we see in Breaking Bad with Saul, and, the kind of stuff, the kind of ideas that he has that he uses to solve these problems. So anyways, I thought that was a really nice way to start off the episode there. And again, it seemed like rather insignificant, but it looked like they went to a lot of effort to get it done, which also kind of shows, how far they're willing to go. And also, they just genuinely enjoy it too. Like, yeah, it's for something, that they care about, but they actually just like doing it, right? Both of them. So anyways, then we get Lalo and Nacho, and this was, So this scene was when they go to visit Hector at the old folks' home. Getting a little bit ahead of myself there when they go to Los Pollos Hermanos. But anyways, so they go to visit Hector at the old folks' home, or the retirement home, whatever, or I guess the extra care home, I guess, right? Because he's in the wheelchair right now. Well, he continues to be, right? But as of now, they don't know. They don't know he'll be in the wheelchair forever. Anyway, so Lalo. So this is the guy that introduced himself as Eduardo, I believe, Eduardo Salamanca, last episode, and we knew he was going to play a part here now, so that was good. I also didn't even think about the actual character of Lalo, because in Breaking Bad, if the episode titled Better Call Saul, where we meet Saul Goodman, he actually mentions a guy named Lalo and how he's, scared of him, right? And it's actually really cool, because now we meet this guy Lalo, so or Lalo, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but anyways, so this is the guy from last episode that arrived at the restaurant where Nacho was, doing his dealings with the other dealers there. And anyways, so really great scene here. So Lalo walks in with Nacho, and Lalo brings Hector a gift that's a souvenir, I guess, from their past about some house that they raided, I guess. and it ends up being the bell. So this was really awesome stuff. He actually ties it to the side of the wheelchair there, and Hector starts ringing it like that. Oh man, the nostalgia just kicked in right there. Really brought me back to that scene where Tuco's trying to eat the tacos right in front of Walter and Jesse, and they poisoned his taco. And Hector knows it, and he's ringing the bell, trying to warn him, and and it ends up working. But anyways. And he doesn't die. But anyways, that really brought back memories for me, and also the moment when he kills Gus in the retirement home there. So anyways, when he's ringing that bell, and really nostalgic there. So anyways, that was a little great scene there. And what's also important about this scene too is that Lalo tells Nacho to leave so that he can talk to Hector, personally, or privately, sorry. So does that mean that they already expect Nacho, or are they just, he's not part of the family, this is a family discussion? It could be either way. I think more leaning towards just the family. I don't think they, suspect Nacho of anything, especially not working with Gus, that's for sure. And Gus is going to try his damnedest to keep that, keep that they don't know. Anyway, so, yeah, just enjoy, an interesting thing to check out there. So then we get the part with the German guys in this episode, and this played a pretty big part towards the end of the episode, of course, with Warner. I say Warner, I guess you say Warner or Werner, whatever. Anyways, and the name of the episode, I honestly, I really liked it because of the way it related, but I can't really pronounce it. So anyways, so the German guys are facilitating another detonation, right, in the underground lab there to clear more rock, right? And so they need more space. And so they're going to continue with, I think they said a couple more, detonations with the explosives to clear some more space, right? And so we see basically the whole operation, right? Because in that 8th month time jump, they already did this a lot, right? And so now we're seeing it kind of again, in that we haven't seen it before, but they have done it before, right? So anyway, so we see Tyrus, he drives over with a truck to divert the noise of the explosion. He drives right over those grates so they don't come up, or at least, the sound doesn't, come through, which brilliant stuff there, right? They have it all planned out. A very elaborate plan, and Tyrus is able to divert the noise, so it's not that big of a deal. But we do see the more important part of this is that one of the devices isn't functioning properly, and so Warner decides that he's going to go down and try to hook it up properly and come back up, and then they can do it, right? And it was a very odd scene here, but also a very intense and suspenseful scene. It was crazy. I love the way that Better Call Saul is able to do this. I mean, the stakes pretty big in this scene, but it turns out that it's really not that big of a deal, and we're sitting there with our hearts beating out of our chest, and nothing ends up happening. So yeah, it was really a great scene here. But anyway, so he goes down to reposition this device and get it working properly, and he's they're terrified, pretty much. He's shaking, right, and trying to get this device going. I guess maybe he's scared about getting blown up or doing something wrong. I guess so. But nothing ends up happening to him. It turned out to be an intense scene, but very anticlimactic because nothing ends up happening. He goes back up. But he continues shaking, and Mike sees that. And that comes back later in the episode. So that was kind of a key there. But again, very suspenseful scene. So this was maybe my favorite scene of the episode here. This was really, it was funny to me, and just kind of, scary too, though, right? So anyways, Nacho and Lalo, whatever, they go to Los Polos Hermanos, and they're sitting there eating chicken, eating their meal or whatever, and Gus is warned by his worker, if we remember him from season 3, right? He came in when Nacho and Hector and one of the other guys came in there and what is it? Barricaded the place, I guess, right? They kind of, stood up the place and made everyone, go home. Anyways, and so this guy comes in, he's like, Mr. Fring, these guys are out here again, right? So anyways, so Gus comes out and, of course, puts on the act with Lalo. I don't think he knows who Lalo is quite yet. Like, right when he goes to the table, I don't think he knows who he is, but obviously he picks up on it pretty quick. So then Lalo asks Gus if they can talk in his office, if he'd be down, to talk stuff about expansion or stuff like that. So anyways, both of them are they're just playing a part here, right? Lalo's playing, kind of a, stranger, customer, right? And Gus is obviously playing that boss that he does so well, just that random business owner, right? Anyway, so then I love this. So Lalo gets up, right? And he's walking towards the office, and Gus just gives a brilliant look to Nacho. And he's like, who the hell is this guy? What is going on here, right? I found it really, really funny. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but I found it so funny. He looks over to Nacho, he's like, what the hell is this, right? Like, figuring out, like, who is this guy? What does he want? Why are you guys here, right? So many questions in that one facial expression. It was awesome. Giancarlo Esposito, credit to him. Anyway, so the two then sit in Gus's office, and Lalo thanks him for saving Hector's life. And says, that the family owes him, right? And that maybe the two groups can get along a little bit better now, because of course Salamakas and Gus Fring didn't always get along that well. And now he thinks maybe they can get back, together a little bit better and kind of get along more. So, anyways, I loved it because both of them are so fake in this scene in the office to each other. Lalo saying he can get along better now. And, Gus is like, oh, yeah, that would be great. And then right when Lalo leaves, Gus's face just totally changes. And he's like, what? Screw this guy, right? Like, he totally just changes. He doesn't buy it for a second of anything that Lalo just said. He is not buying it at all. Gus is smart. And then I love where we see Lalo. They go out of the restaurant, right? And he says to Nacho, well, show me where this chicken farm is where he distributes the drugs, right? Obviously, he's not actually trying to get along with him better. So, anyways, I just loved how both the guys saw right through each other's bullshit. And right after we saw the reaction of both of them. That was really great. Probably my favorite scene of the episode. This one was great. Really great. So then we see Jimmy attends his bar meeting to be reinstated. I didn't even think of this. I thought it was like an automatic thing that this year is up. Okay, now he's a lawyer again. But now he has to go through all this whole process about meeting with the bar and getting, put back, on the bar and being able to practice again. And so anyway, so he goes to this meeting. It looks like he crushes it, right? He says, all the right things. And he also says, I love this. He says, what he did before will never happen again. Never, ever, I think he says, happen again. And it's just hilarious because we know that's 100% not true, right? Like, he has done that, and much worse, right? In his days as Saul Goodman, as a lawyer, right? And so we know in the future that is totally not true. He is going to do it again. Anyways, I just love that little point there. And then we get to a point in the interview where the woman asks, what inspired Jimmy to work hard, become a lawyer, and his interest in law? And we kind of all think that he's going to answer with Chuck, right? And of course, I think the woman and the board thinks that he's going to answer with Chuck. But instead, he answers with his university name and says, I give credit to my university rather than his esteemed brother, right? Like, why would you not bring up your brother as he's such a big part to the bar? All those committee members would know him. You talk highly of the brother, you're probably going to get some praise from the board members. But instead, he decides not to talk about Chuck at all and just ignore him. So that was big. That was a big, big thing. Anyway, so then they leave it and they tell him that they'll let him know in the next couple days, whether he's been accepted or declined. And so anyway, so we get this, and then Jimmy, he just can't wait, right? He gets out of the meeting. He thinks about going back in, and I was saying, I'm like, Jimmy, don't go back in, right? Like, don't screw up your chances. And so he doesn't. He actually goes and sits outside the meeting. And then after, and of course, like, he's waiting to find out the verdict, right? And so then he finds out from the clerk or the person who was typing a little bit in the meeting, kind of shakes her head and is like, no, no, after he says, what, did they accept me, right? And so he finds out that they denied him. They denied him after this meeting. And so, of course, he's furious, right? He goes looking for one of these committee members on the stairs. I don't think we ever got his name, but it was the man sitting in the middle. And he tells them that they thought he was insincere, and that's why he was denied, right? And so at least this guy told them. I mean, he really didn't have to, and he really shouldn't have, but he's kind of being attacked on the stairs by Jimmy here. And he tells them they thought you were insincere, and that's why we denied you. And then the biggest part of it all is he says, now, you can apply again next year. Next year? We just went through this whole thing, and Jimmy was suspended for a whole year. And now they're saying, oh, well, you can apply next year. huge news to Jimmy, right? And at this point, he has just lost his mind, right? He throws his suitcase in frustration on the staircase. And honestly, right? Like, wow, a whole year for this. He goes to this bar meeting, looks like he crushes it, he does really well, and they deny him. And now he has to wait another whole year until he can apply. Crazy stuff. And you understand why Jimmy is angry. I mean, you totally understand it. You feel for him for sure. So, anyways, but again, that thing with Chuck comes back here when Jimmy goes to talk to Kim at the top of that parking garage little thing. So, anyways, this scene was a long time coming, and I was really... Now, I'm not happy for the characters, but I was happy to see this scene finally happen. I felt like it was about time. Everything was building up this season for this. So, this was really great. So, then Jimmy goes to Kim in a flurry, right? He drives up so fast. That was really cool to see the different angles that they used for that. And he gets up there to the parking garage, gets out of his car, right? And one of the first things that Kim asks him is, did you mention Chuck, right? Did you talk about him? What did you say about him? And Jimmy says, no, I didn't talk about Chuck, right? I didn't mention him, right? And Jimmy doesn't realize quite yet what consequences that had of not mentioning Chuck or not even talking about him, right? And Jimmy then says some harsh things about Chuck. He doesn't even think about him anymore. He's dead. Let's move on, I think he says. Like, really, kind of really insincere stuff about Chuck. Obviously does not really care about him anymore, and that's why he doesn't want to bring him up at the hearing. So I don't know. Anyways, but Kim is really, she's so right here, right? She's so right. It didn't sound very well. Wasn't very well put. Anyways, but yeah, no, Kim is right in this fact that he should have mentioned Chuck, and the fact that he didn't recognize why he should have is something, definitely there's something wrong there with Jimmy and his thought process, because obviously they know this whole crime had to do with his brother, and they gave him even a chance to talk about Chuck in that one question, and he blew it, right? So most likely that is the answer for why he got denied. Anyways, so Jimmy then blames Kim for not having their office together. Of course, this comes back, right? He wanted Wexler McGill, and she was the one who kind of went back to her job. And now the two begin to really fight, right? And at this moment, I'm thinking a year full of emotions have went into this argument. And it's true, or at least 9 months, right? 9 months of emotions and, back and forth here have went into this argument right here on the top of this parking garage lot. And it was great. It was really great to see these emotions finally coming out. And then, Jimmy says, oh, kick a guy when he's down. And Kim ends the argument. Very well put. She says, Jimmy, you are always down. Really great. I feel like that really resonates exactly with what the story is. It's true. I mean, he is always down, right? And so, you take that as you may, right? Lots of interpretations for that last line, but I thought that was a great way to kind of walk out of that the argument with Jimmy, right? Crazy way to end it. So anyways, I really liked that scene. Not happy for the characters, of course, but really liked that scene. We needed that this week, and we needed to see that finally unfold after the last 9 months that we've been shown. So that was great. Again, tough to watch, but great to see. So anyways, so the big argument there. And then later that night, I didn't love this, by the way. I thought they maybe could have split this up. It just seemed way too quick because they get in this big argument on the parking lot, right? And then the next scene, there may have been a commercial. I was skipping through the commercials because I didn't watch it live this week. So maybe that's it. But anyways, maybe even if there was a commercial, then directly next scene is Jimmy coming, back to the house that night. So I didn't love that. I felt like they could have maybe split that up a little bit better. Anyways, that would be one of my only negatives of this episode. Anyway, so later that night, Jimmy comes back to pack his things and leave. So just like that, after this one argument, it looks like they are done. Or at least Jimmy feels that way, right? So then Kim comes over, though, when he's packing up his things, and she says in the mirror, do you still want to be a lawyer? Right? And it's kind of a weird question. You'd figure, oh, she just wants him out of the house and whatever, right? And so she says, do you want to still be a lawyer? And Jimmy says, yes, of course. And she says, well, we can start with that. What does that mean, Kim? What does that mean? So are they enacting a new plan to get him on the bar now? Is Kim going to pull out the big guns, right, and try to get him, in terms of an appeal or something like that, or maybe do some, shady stuff, right, to get him onto the bar? So we're going to have to see. I think that it's not over, and I think Jimmy may actually still become a lawyer by the end of the finale. So anyways, I'm looking forward to it, but whether this means that they have a plan or maybe Kim is just willing to, live with him still, I'm not exactly sure what this all means, but I'm totally in. I'm down for it, and I think it's going to be a crazy finale. I think things are going to play out in this finale. And this honestly might be the end of Kim, this finale. I think it might be. I kind of suspect that, where they're going with this. So anyways, let's see what happens. Are they going to get Jimmy on the bar together, or what's going to happen? Because I really do think, Kim was definitely hurt in the argument and whatever, but I think Jimmy kind of lost more in that argument and kind of, finally felt those emotions, right? And Kim has kind of felt that way for a bit, though, I think. So whether that hit Kim as hard as Jimmy is another question too. So maybe that's why she's still willing to help him, right? So anyways, then we get the very last scene of the episode, and this one was great. So in the morning, Mike goes in like a normal day to the warehouse there where the German guys are living. And he finds out that a few of the cameras have malfunctioned. They have they have a couple pixels missing on a couple of the cameras there. And anyway, so they've malfunctioned, right? These cameras with they have blue or green pixels or some of them on them. And so he's a little bit suspect, right? He's not sure what to expect from it. He hasn't said anything for sure. But he just goes in there, right? So he goes into the space to check it out, right? Get to the bottom of things, and finds that specific cameras have been burnt out, right? And then he goes into the living quarters where Warner is, and he seems to have found a note placed on the end of the bed. Crazy stuff, right? So anyway, so we're led to believe then that Warner is gone, right? And then this is reaffirmed when they finally track down kind of his steps along with the cameras that have been burnt out, right? So they trace it all back, and they get up on the roof, or the one guy gets up on the roof and then goes to the ladder where they get down, and he looks down at the ladder, and there's Mike, right? And there's Mike. So they track him down. They know exactly where he went to get out of this warehouse and escape. And now Mike is there, and he's looking around. And then the very end of the episode is Mike looks over on the ground, finds the laser pointer that Warner used to black out the cameras, right? So now he has proof that Warner did, well, not necessarily that Warner did it, but I think he's the only one gone, because then we see all the other men come out of the other house, right? So I think that we're led to believe he's the only one that went missing, and now he has proof that he actually did purposely blow out the cameras and that he escaped. So Warner is gone for now, at least. So anyways, not good for Mike, and definitely not good for this Warner guy, especially once Gus finds out. It is not going to be good for Warner. And so anyways, and this kind of building as well, as he had a scene with Mike earlier talking about how he wanted to go home, see his wife for a week and something, and then come back, right? And Mike just would not allow it. He said, that's not okay, you gotta stay. And Warner took matters into his own hands and escaped the warehouse to go home, presumably. But again, I'm worried for Warner, man. I think his days are numbered now that he has escaped. Gus is not going to treat that lightly. So anyways, crazy end of the episode here, and some great things for Mike leading into the next episode. Is he going to track down Warner, right? That's a big question. Anyways, so that'll just about do it for this one. All right, so in terms of a rating for this one, I'm going to give it a 4.8 out of 5. I really did enjoy this one. I thought it was a step up from some of the other episodes. Still behind, I would say, episode 7. Really something stupid. I really love that episode. Last episode was great too. I'd say this is kind of equal to the Kushada last episode. These last few episodes, last 3 have been really, really great. Well, the whole season has been great. Let's be honest, right? But this one was really great. So great setup for the finale next week. I thought that was like the biggest kind of objective of this episode going into it, and I felt like they did it perfectly. They set up so many things for next week, and along with things that we're not going to expect, right? They're bound to happen in that big finale. So I haven't confirmed how long it is, but I think it is an extended episode. But a lot of these have been extended this season. I don't know if you noticed. I think watching live TV, it's kind of hard to notice if they're extended or not, because usually it's like 2 or 3 more minutes. But yeah, no, I believe that it's going to be like 55 again, because this episode was 55 minutes, I believe. So, which it's usually 42, right? So that's a pretty big extension. I wouldn't be surprised if we see like an hour episode next week for the finale. That would be really great. Anyway, so great setup though, setting up so many good things for next week. I'm really looking forward to it. One thing I will say is Howard, right? I saw a lot of fans on Twitter saying this as well when I was, going on there about the episode. And yeah, a lot of people are asking about Howard. Where is the guy, right? Like, he hasn't been in the last, 4 episodes, maybe 3 or 4 episodes. And again, I mean, they kind of left him, right? He's not in the storyline right now. He's not integral to the plot. But it would be nice to see him again. I mean, I like Patrick Fabian. I think he's really good. And the Howard character is really great too. So now I'm thinking that he might be integrated in this plan that Kim has to get Jimmy becoming a lawyer again. So we'll have to see. Maybe he'll play a part in the finale. I wouldn't be surprised. I'd be very surprised, let's just say, if he wasn't in the finale next week. But anyways, we'll have to see. Great focus on Jimmy and Kim. I love the argument whole thing that played out, and all this emotion that's happened in the last 9 months leading up to it kind of finally got out and played itself through, right, for the first time. And that was, something that we needed to see, and something also that we'll build for next episode, and the future too. Now, again, will this be Kim's last season? I don't know, right? If that's what they're setting up, maybe this is a perfect setup for that. Now, if she does stick around, maybe even to the next season, maybe this is just kind of a blip in their relationship. So anyways, it's gonna be interesting to see, right? We can't really pass any judgments on that quite yet. I thought, again, this episode, not every episode of Better Call Saul is like this, but I thought this one was very, very good in balancing the drug cartel, right? The drug/cartel business and all that, and the plot with Jimmy and Kim. Now, Better Call Saul doesn't always do this, right? You have some episodes that are big with Jimmy, right? And you have some episodes that are bigger with Mike and that whole business. And I thought this episode was one of the best balances of the two, right? We really saw equal time for Nacho and Lalo, right? And Mike and the Germans, right? That was an equal half of this episode compared to Jimmy and Kim. So I thought the balance of this one was phenomenal. I thought it was one of the best episodes in terms of that balancing factor. I thought it was really great. So that is definitely a huge positive for this episode. And I can't say that about a lot of episodes of Better Call Saul. Usually it's kind of, one way or the other. And even maybe when they show Mike equal time, it's not necessarily about the drug/cartel stuff. So yeah, I really did like the balance this week. That was great. Favorite character for this one, I'm going to go with Mike Ehrmantraut. Got to do it, right? Jonathan Banks, amazing job. And I didn't know this, actually. I knew he was getting old, but he's actually 71. I think just recently was his birthday, I saw. So he's 71. I did not know that. So anyways, Better Call Saul. I don't know if Mike's going to be another spinoff. I mean, if he still wants to do it at 75, that'd be awesome. It'd be great. But anyway, so I don't know. We'll have to see where that goes. But I think he's down for the rest of Better Call Saul for sure. Whether it's 1 more season or 2 more seasons, I think he'll be game for it. So anyways, Jonathan Banks, an amazing job, and Mike doing a great job in this episode, with the Germans. And he had a pretty big part, and I think he's going to play a big part in this finale, tracking down Warner and kind of getting to the bottom of that. So, and that's a big thing for him. Like, that's going into Breaking Bad territory where his responsibility was tracking down people, fixing messes, and all that stuff, right? And that's exactly what he's kind of tasked with in this finale with Warner. So I think it's going to be great to see, and he was great in this episode as always. So anyways, again, Jonathan Banks, amazing job as always. He was great. I mean, if Better Call Saul was fit into this Emmy period, he definitely would have challenged Peter Dinklage for the Emmy, but I'm sure that he'll be challenging Peter Dinklage this next year with supporting actor. He's really great. So anyways, guys, what did you think of the episode? Let me know in the comments. Share your thoughts, and share your thoughts what you expect in this finale. That is something I'd love to hear from you guys. So let's discuss, and let's lay out some predictions, right? So anyways, again, thank you so much for watching this review. Thank you so much for your support on the channel. The support lately has been amazing. Just the subscribers mainly, just in the last week or so, I think I've gained about 15 subscribers in a week. I mean, that's crazy for me. So that's a crazy rate. Anyways, I just really like to thank you guys for all the support. I know, maybe not a lot of people watch by this time in the video, but anyways, I just want to say it. So thank you for the support. And yeah, so once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week for the crazy action-packed finale. I think it's going to be next week for Better Call Saul Season 4, Episode 10. See you then, guys.
To shout out feeling lonely.